Hi, I'm Becky Parkinson, a director with Usborne Books and More, and I'm thrilled to talk to you today about the very best thing that we offer in Usborne Books and More. It is the thing that can change any child from not loving to read or not wanting to read into a real reader. And I've seen it on all different ages. So whether you have a little tiny person that's learning how to read or a bigger person that hasn't learned how to read, this is for them. And I've seen it so many times that it just makes me so happy. So if you're wanting to have a reader in your house, you definitely want to support that at home and help them to read. So reading aloud to them is so important. The other thing is having an environment where they get to learn to read naturally, and that's what this reading set does. So we have this big set. It's called the very first reading set, where you can have them in hardback or you can have paperbacks here. And this is the My First Reading Library. Both of them are wonderful, and you'll do fine with either set. So a little story on this. I had my first child, and I went to this conference when he was only like 2 years old. And they said if your child learns how to read before they turn 5 years old, they'll read faster for the rest of their life. So I was like, cool, I want to do that. Well, we didn't have this reading series at that time. And so I taught him how to read using a different program. And so I started, and it was always a fight every day when we did it. Oh, it felt terrible, and both of us were probably filled with anxiety about not wanting to do it and about me forcing him to do it. But we did it. It wasn't any fun, but he did learn how to read. And after that, he did read faster. He reads really fast, and he's a wonderful reader. Well, my second child rolled around, and he was not having that program. It was not going to happen. He was definitely, he definitely willpowered me out, right? So it wasn't working. And we had started having this yellow set, and we kind of like played around with it a little bit, but it was a new thing, and I wasn't sure if it worked or not. I'd heard people saying that it would work, but I hadn't seen it. Well, then I was at a home party, and I was showing the set, and a speech therapist walked in, and she said, that yellow set is the best reading program out there. And I was like, okay. She said, no, you don't get it. Because I guess she worried that I was questioning her. She said, you don't get it. I've taught hundreds of kids how to read over the years, and I've been using that for the last year or two, and they read more fluidly, they read better, they love it. And I thought, okay, well, then I need to give this a second look. So I dropped everything else I was doing with my second child, and I only did the first reading library. And we went through book by book, and he was loving it. We were just reading each one, and all of a sudden, by about book 8, I could see him take off, and he was reading on his own. And then he just kept doing it and doing it. And then we have these other series, and so he went ahead and started reading the Hey Jack series, which I call these the gateway reading, the gateway drug to reading, because they teach kids that they can read chapter books. So then he started reading these right afterwards. So you can see what level they're on after they finish the first reading library. They're on a good first to second grade reading level. And he just started reading those and then taking off, and then bigger and bigger books. He's only 8 years old now, and he goes around with Harry Potter's and all sorts of big books. Our big book of Greek myths in Usborne, he loves toting that around, or any other book, and I can hardly get him away from a book. And he does read really fast, and he learned how to read after 5 years old. So this set is for any level, wherever you're at with kids. I have fourth grade teachers that are helping kids to be able to read that weren't reading before. And the more I did just the set, the better it felt. So now I'm using this with my third child, and I'm so excited. So this is the first book in the series, and it's called Pirate Pat. It's in both the hardback set and the paperback set, so you can choose. But this is why it works. So you are reading with the child. So it's a more fun book to read. The night was cold, the sky was black, the window rattled, and they would read tap, tap, tap. And then there's someone there, I'm sure of it. Sam, do stop barking. Sit, Sam, sit. It's extremely easy to use with kids, and they love it. All they're doing is reading with you, and then at the end you do some puzzles. Teachers love this because of the comprehension. And so you go through, and there's some rhyming and some recognition. Now the part that the speech therapist said, you're showing it all wrong, was this. I was not showing. So in the back, there's guidance notes in every book, which is wonderful for parents, so you always know where they're at. Also, there's online help. You can go and get flashcards and activity sheets and everything offline to print up. So we don't just leave you at just the books, although just the books are wonderful. If you're sometimes a little bit lazy like me, then you might just be reading the books, because I was really good at the worksheets and stuff for like maybe the first or second book, and then we just read the books, and guess what? You learned how to read. So here's the sounds. You want to make sure you cover the sounds each time with your child, and then you do that. And they won't recognize them at first. They may not even recognize them as letters. It's okay if your kid has no recognition with letters. It's where you start. You just start right there. So right now I'm doing that with my child. He is 4, and we are going through and doing this first reading library, and he is loving it. He's loving every second of it and feeling so inspired. and like he's a reader already. And that's what happens to kids. They become fantastic readers with this set. So ask me any questions you have about this. I just have the best experiences and the best feedback from customers and teachers, and would love to share more with you about this awesome reading set. You can choose either the hardback, and they're about $4 a book inside of here. So this is also, by the way, probably the cheapest reading set you will ever find on teaching your children how to read. And then we have the larger set that's only $10 more, but offers 35 more books in it. So the hardback set has 15 books in it, and this one has 50. And you would do well with either of them. They have more books in the My First Reading Library, the paperbacks. So instead of just one book like Pirate Pat on level 1, you can have 2 of them. You will do fine with either set. It's the hardback set that I used with my second child, and now I'm just using the paperback set because we have it and there's more to read. The fun thing is too with the My First Reading Library is that my son, who's 4 now, we've actually been using this set for a couple years because there's so much reading material. He's been reading a lot of these books just because he enjoys them. So you will find that you will love this with every age that you use it with.